This week on the Husky Update.
Northeastern professors are blindsided by the university. Paris is victim to another terrorist attack. And the Southeast braces for a hurricane. All this and more on this week's episode of the Husky Update.
Your campus, your news, all the time. From the Showman Studio, here is the Husky Update.
Hello and welcome to the Husky Update. I'm Josh Baker reporting from the Showman Studio. Our first story of the week concerns recent announcements from administration in relation to requirements for the professors in the spring. On Friday, October 23rd, Northeastern University emailed their professors stating that they will be required to teach on campus in the spring semester. The only exception would be for immune-compromised professors with a doctor's note. There would not be an exception for age or for childcare. While the university slightly backtracked the decision on Tuesday to be more flexible, it is still strict. We sat down and talked to the professor on how she feels about what's happening.
Can you just describe what it was like when you got that email on Friday?
I got texts from, I think it was about 8 different junior faculty members, so folks who didn't have tenure, asking what they were going to do, right? And so I do want to say from the outset, although I'm speaking from a privileged position, being a tenured faculty member at Northeastern, I'm sort of speaking with the voices of a lot of folks who don't feel safe coming out. Of course, I was horrified, right? So in the lead up of reading until we received this email, there was some talk about changing the policies to shift towards a more on-campus experience for the spring. You know, we're all aware of how well Northeastern's doing. It's really impressive to keep outbreaks down. And yet many of us have been bringing up that the reason that we're not coming to campus has nothing to do with the risk profile. It's because we have caregiving responsibilities, right? So that includes childcare, it includes folks who are caring for elderly or sick relatives, folks who have disabled siblings and so on. You know, there's all sorts of caregiving that's going on, and the sort of system level functions that normally take care of that stuff just don't exist right now. It was on our radar that there might be a bit of a change. They might have slightly different restrictions. It never occurred to any of us that it would be everyone in person all the time.
How do you anticipate this decision will affect relationships between the professors and administration?
I mean, it's pretty catastrophic, right? So just to paint a picture of what happened this week, earlier this week, we received faculty caregivers received an email asking us to fill out a survey for what kinds of additional supports we might need. Subsequently, Boston Public Schools went fully remote. And then on Friday, we get an email saying that we all have to come to campus in person with, you know, a couple of months notice, but in a climate where it's impossible to find childcare. People are really mad and people feel betrayed, understandably.
Are there any other people you think are going to be hurt a lot by this new policy?
Yes. So, of course, there are also different kinds of caregiving that happen. I know several faculty friends who don't have children, but they have elderly parents. So those elderly parents, a lot of them have been pulled out of nursing homes because it's not safe in those spaces. So they've moved in with these faculty members and staff members too. I don't want to exclude them. So a lot of folks are caring for those people or have those people in their homes, right? You know, there's also lots of folks who have kids or maybe even adult children who don't have, they have sort of borderline medical issues, right? So need a little extra supervision or maybe have asthma, you know, so things where it makes it difficult to get that healthcare exemption, but that we still very much need to be with these people in our homes in order to look after them.
The university has already made the announcement that NU Flex will be continuing through the spring semester. So how do you think that ruling applies with the ruling on faculty need to come to campus?
I mean, it sure does seem inconsistent to me, right? So I do think that the NU Flex technology is impressive, that maybe they're envisioning that half the students will be in the classroom and half will be on Zoom from home. I'm not convinced that the students or their parents are going to want to send kids to school if there's a big outbreak in Boston. And I understand that Northeastern is incredibly safe and the testing is incredibly good. And yet the idea that folks will travel across state lines to come to a place that's experienced a surge in COVID cases seems pretty implausible to me. I think that the way we're teaching right now is working well. A lot of my colleagues have remarked that the students appreciate the flexibility. I don't think we're asking for anything special. We're just asking to keep doing what we're doing. And there's evidence now that it's working pretty well. So I don't see why we can't keep doing what we're doing.
So is there anything you as a faculty member want students to be doing about the situation?
Yeah, I would appreciate students speaking up about what they really want and what they expect. So one thing that struck me in the email that came out is that students and their parents are being used as cover for implementing this policy. So we're being told that students and their parents are demanding an on-campus experience. And look, I get it. I also want an on-campus experience. I appreciate that so little of college is actually the material teaching, and so much of it is the experience and the networking and all the great stuff that comes from being a university student. And at the same time, I know that my students are empathetic and they're caring and they appreciate just how hard this whole situation is for everyone. So I find it hard to believe they're really demanding that we leave our children unattended at home in order to come be in the classroom with them, or frankly, half of them, because I assume we'll still need to abide by distancing and COVID policies.
We now go to reporter Tessa Baum for a rapid fire.
Thanks, Josh. I'm Tessa Baum, and this is Rapid Fire. On Tuesday the 27th, the First Generation Low Income Student Union hosted a town hall. The event's main purpose was to share the results from a survey completed by over 100 students with FGLI, or undocumented status. After highlighting some key data takeaways, the organizers shifted gears and made formal demands for more support for first-gen students. FGL-ISU has launched a task force dedicated to supporting the advancement of support for FGLI students. To learn more about the initiative, check out FGL-ISU on Instagram. In national news, Hurricane Zeta hit the Gulf Coast on Wednesday. It was a strong Category 2 storm and was declared a post-tropical storm as of Thursday. At least 6 people had died, and 2.1 million customers lost power as of Thursday. In international news on Thursday, October 29th, a deadly knife attack took place at the Notre Dame Basilica in Nice, France. It had been reported that 3 people had been killed. The suspected killer had been apprehended by the police, repeating Islamic sayings while being treated by medics. The attack came during heightened tensions in the country over radical Islam extremism, secularism, and freedom of speech. Many politicians, officials, and organizations across Europe have condemned the Nice attack on social media accounts. That's all for Rapid Fire. Back to you, Josh.
Thanks, Tessa. On Tuesday, millions of voters across the United States will cast their ballots for the 2020 presidential election. There are a number of Senate and House seats up for election as well. Join NUTV News for our election night coverage, where our student correspondents will bring you the latest on poll closings and more. Well, that's the news. The rest is up to you. Make sure to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube page to stay up to date with the Husky update. My name is Josh Baker, and thank you for watching.